Hey everybody, welcome back to another week of Captain Ron Cooks. This week something super special. I've got a guest. This is Paul Stanley from Dakota Ranch Beef. How you doing, Paul?
Doing good.
Yeah? So Paul has a really cool thing that we do called a Gatlin Gun Ribeye. Now it's Christmas time.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, you know, the whole shebang. We want to include everybody. Because we're going to take this awesome, beautiful ribeye roll here. I'm going to show you how to butcher it, take it off the bone, save yourself a ton of money, wrap it in these beautiful marrow bones. We're going to throw it on the rotisserie. Does that sound like the plan?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
I'm hungry already.
Well, tell us, what do we have here, Paul?
This comes from Dakota Ranch Beef, which is supporting the small family-owned ranches and farms up in the Dakotas. Bone-in ribeye,
Okay.
which you can now buy online.
What?
Yes, you can. Shop.dakotaranchbeef.com.
Okay, how about that? We'll put a link down below just for you.
So just started, we haven't done that before. This is an export rib or a bone-in ribeye. And this time of year,
Yes.
guess how much they cost?
I can only go by what my local Publix has had it on sale for it. You know, like $8.99 a pound.
The cheapest time of the year to buy a full bone-in ribeye
Right.
is around the holiday season.
Yeah, so what he's saying here too is that, you know, if you go to Publix and buy them or any butcher like that, right now is a cheap time to buy them because they're going to have them on sale trying to get you in the store.
Yep.
But normally, you know, you can save yourself a ton of money. You buy a whole ribeye rack like this, and you're going to save a ton of money over buying like individual steaks, right?
Absolutely. And it's not that difficult to cut. Oh, I need a saw.
No.
No, absolutely not.
And you can buy it a lot less expensively if you buy the whole thing like this.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Good savers in these times. So.
I like saving money. Yes, I do.
Yeah, I can see that by the multiple eggs here.
Yeah, well, there's only 8 of them
You're
back
such a
there, you know. So
saver.
yeah, hey, you got to spend your money on something, right?
Yeah, but you get an egg, it lasts a lifetime.
This is true. Lifetime, baby. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Paul. Now, for the people in the back that weren't paying attention, all right, let's go over again exactly what we're going to do with this giant roast monster beast here.
Absolutely.
Right?
So, not only are we going to do the split marrow bone Gatling gun,
Okay.
but I'm also going to show you how to do a cowboy steak.
Awesome. So we're going to actually take the ribs off of the meat. We're going to wrap that in marrow bones, and then we're going to throw it on the big Green Egg Rotisserie and cook it like that. Is that right?
Slow. It's gonna baste itself as it goes over and over. Yeah.
I feel like he's hitting on me.
And then-
Don't go anywhere because we're gonna make a beautiful horseradish cream sauce that's gonna knock your socks off. It's gonna be the star of your holiday dinner, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and get started. All right, Paul, so we're ready to get started. So I got my handy little knife here for you to work with, all right?
It's not a knife, it's a toothpick.
That's it. What do you mean?
This is a knife.
Oh, that's not a knife. That's a knife. All right there, Crocodile Dundee. All right.
I'm gonna let this drain just a little bit, give it a little air hole.
Okay.
Give that little air hole, give it a little shake.
What'd you call me? Are you like it? Look at that.
We're gonna lift that up.
There we go. Normally now is when I take this and throw it over my shoulder, but I think I won't throw this over my shoulder.
No.
I'll be right
So, I'm gonna just clean the surface of this before we get going on cutting it. There's 2 parts to the ribeye itself.
Okay.
You got the eye of the ribeye.
Right.
And then
The spinalis dorsi.
very good. You did pay attention.
See,
to
I
something.
did. I did.
Good for you.
I
Good
listen
for
when you talk, Paul. If you don't know what that is, by the way, that's the outside band of the ribeye. You've heard of cap steaks. That's the ribeye cap is basically what it is. So just to reiterate then, we're going to use the smaller end for the Gatling gun. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're not sure why they call it a Gatling gun, okay, when it's all done, we're going to have bone marrow bones around it all like that, and it looks like the barrel of a Gatling gun. It's really pretty cool. So there's our measurement.
Okay, so I want it to be, I don't know, about a 1/2 inch overhang there.
Okay.
And then here, we're gonna be making our cut right here. All right. I'm gonna move this bone just aside, and then I'm looking here in between these 2 rib bones.
Okay.
And I'm gonna make my cut. Look at that. Now,
Is that beautiful?
we trimmed it here.
Okay.
And cooked that. That's a ribeye.
Yep.
If we French this bone,
Okay.
single bone.
Yep.
That is going to be our cowboy steak.
Cowboy steak, okay?
Yep.
Yep. So basically you kind of cut it in here like this, then scrape the bone from here up, and you have a small little bone, like a mini tomahawk almost.
There you go.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And then if we leave it all together, this is a standing rib roast.
So basically for this application, we're gonna cut the bones off of here, but if you wanted to, you can ask your butcher to do it. They'll be happy to do it for you, okay? You can see the bone is right here. What they'll do is they'll cut the bone off of it and then tie it back on so that after you cook your meat, all you have to do is cut the strings and you have your meat already separated from the bone, but you get the added bonus of having that bone in there while you're cooking.
Absolutely.
Right?
So right now, we don't eat this, right? So I don't need to worry about that being pretty.
Okay.
So I'm actually just gonna make my cut all the way in until I hit bone.
Don't let it hurt too much. We're gonna put this to good use here, okay?
Yeah, so now that I've hit bone, I'm gonna lay it sideways and kind of twist it a little bit.
You want to kind of
now I want to keep meat on here, so I'm gonna let it.
just kind of go sort of along the bone, just kind of following the line of the bone, basically, right?
There you go. No, we didn't have to do too much.
Cool.
That is the section. Now, these are going to be delicious. These
Yeah.
are back ribs. Some people use them for soup.
Sure.
I clean them up, treat them like a pork spare rib.
Yeah.
Little W sauce on it.
Oh, now you're
treat it
talking.
like a steak.
Yeah.
And slow cook them.
But you can see now you have a beautifully shaped ribeye roast here, okay? That is gonna be the centerpiece for your holiday dinner. All right, Paul, so what do we got here? You got the ribs here. Now, let me ask you this. Is there anything on here that we can't eat?
Well, you can't eat the bones.
Well, I mean, you could if you had really strong teeth, I guess.
There's also a membrane back here.
Okay.
You need to take this off. Get a little start on the knife. Get a paper towel because it gives me more grip.
Yeah.
And then grab one of the ribs and then I can just pull it off.
I'm impressed, man. I've done that before. He's strong.
Yeah.
It's the same exact thing you do to pork ribs, okay? You just pull the membrane off the pork ribs.
But
Like,
this is not going to break down. Like,
Right.
Yeah, you can leave it on, but you want any bark that builds up to be
flavor.
edible, not pulled off at
And
the end.
that'll never render down. It's just going to be tough.
Right.
It's going to be inedible. So it's great to pull it off. Here, see, so what we're saying is when you cut them off, it doesn't have to go to waste. There's good meat on here, okay? Treat it like a regular rib. Cook it like that. It'll be great. I'll go put these inside, so I get to go to the refrigerator. Now we talked about the fat cap earlier. Do we leave this fat cap on here like this? There's a nice layer of fat on here. Do we want to leave that on?
Yes, we leave the fat on.
Okay.
But check it if there's anything a little too thick, like this.
Sure.
That fat is just a little large.
You can feel the difference.
Yeah.
Okay, the soft fat is okay. Leave. That's a little bit harder, almost like a brisket fat. So you want to trim
we're
that
gonna
off.
take very, very little of that off.
Okay.
But just a little bit of that off.
Let me reach in. Ah, no.
No, just a little piece of fat.
Okay.
Trim that off.
Oh, I thought
Looks
you were talking
good.
about my belly. So what's our next step?
So our next step is we're gonna season it up.
Okay. I just so happen to have the stuff to do that with.
W sauce, that's killer.
We're gonna use shiitake.
Mikey!
Yeah, Mikey, fire and smoke. Shiitake, okay? How about this
Good
piece? Are we
stuff.
gonna do anything with this piece?
That is to the refrigerator for now.
2-in-1 film, yes! Back to the refrigerator!
It's about time you did something. You're a refrigerator.
all right, let's making fun of to the refrigerator. Yeah.
I'm gonna season this bad boy up.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna build a bone ladder. Stairway to flavor.
Of course, what we're going to do is we're going to use this as a binder. It's the W sauce here. It's just an absolutely fantastic binder, full of flavor. It's not your regular Worcestershire. It's actually a.
This is my part.
It's oh yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to take your job, Paul.
Am I doing good?
You're doing great. You have a lot of practice.
Yeah, a little bit. Not with the binder though.
Oh, okay, good.
You know?
So the binder, all that's doing is going to allow the seasoning to stick to the meat a lot better. Okay, so that's cool. Now we're going to use fire and smoke shiitake. If you haven't had this seasoning, it's unbelievable.
You know, mushroom and steak go together. Prime rib. It's a nature's pairing.
Lot peas and carrots.
Yeah.
All right.
So you want to do this liberally. You want to have a lot of seasoning on here, and you want it to stick. So that's that binder, and I mean, I'm pushing it on. You know, I want it to stick, and I'm going to mop the whole cutting board to get as much as I can.
If I can cut in on something, everybody always says, "Oh, put your rub on your meat." If you rub them, it's just gonna wipe it all off. Don't rub it. Push it on. I do what Paul does. Put it on and pat it in there.
There
plus,
you go.
Plus, according to Instagram, you have to smack meat before you're allowed to cook it. Okay, I like to have a real nice solid coating on here. I almost don't like to see meat because what I do find is that the rotisserie, as this thing cooks and it's gonna drip, we're gonna lose some of the seasoning. So I like to really make sure I have a good full coating on here. I think we're there, Paul.
There we go.
Paul Stanley, everybody, give him a hand. Give him a hand. Not the guy from Kiss, not that Paul Stanley. See, before we go further into it, tell me like the 2-second synopsis of Demcoda Ranch beef. What sets it apart, basically? You know?
Yeah, well, we're a very new beef company, but doing old world things the right way.
All right. So now you're going to build the bone thing here, and I have one more question about. I know we want to get to work on this, but what do the cows eat up there? Are they just eating oats? So I mean, what do the cows eat up there? I have no idea.
Oh, in Dakota country, these cattle are eating the finest native grasses.
Okay.
Drinking the clearest, cleanest water and
Mountain
breathing air in the Dakotas that came from heaven itself.
I love it. I love it. All right, bone ladder time. So what we're gonna need for that is simply our marrow bones. These are cut what's called canoe style, because once they're done, this is gonna be hollowed out just like a canoe, and some butcher twine.
So just start it with a loop.
Okay.
Go around this first bone. Yep, just pull it through.
Okay.
That's our first
We're gonna do 2 sets of these. That's why I call it a ladder, so you can have 2 sets.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a set of strings coming down here and a set of strings coming down here.
Like this,
Okay.
face down on top of the string. We're just gonna go around it, loop it underneath, like that.
Okay, so you're going around, then underneath the piece of string back up. So almost like, okay.
I go back around one more time.
Okay.
I don't want them moving around.
Yeah, all right, it keeps it steady basically. Well, I'll tell you what. While you're building that, why don't I go ahead and put some charcoal in the egg and get that part of it started?
This is 2 things you've done now.
We're really getting somewhere now.
This is a new holiday run.
Yeah, that's because I have to edit this stupid thing. So.
Right? There you go.
All right. So what we're working with today is we're working with the new Big Green Egg Rotisserie. Okay, it's a beautiful setup, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna pour a bunch of holes in here, and I'm gonna bank them up the back of the egg, so it's not gonna be directly underneath the meat the whole time. So we're kind of catching radiant heat like that. It's gonna really work out well. All right. And we're gonna use our Jealous Devil lump charcoal. All right. So we're gonna put a bunch in here, right down the egg. So we're gonna push it to the back of the egg. Look at the size of that piece, man. That's a big old piece of wood right there. I like that. There's a bunch of them in here. So we're gonna bank it up. It doesn't have to all be banked, but you wanna set it up. Okay, so you wanna have about maybe a half a basket full of charcoal. You wanna have about maybe a half a basket full of charcoal. All right, like that. And you can see down here, so what kind of starter should we use? Boom! Let's get it lit. I'm gonna grab a lighter and get this lit while Paul is building his bone ladder. Don't worry, it's not going to explode. It's just a lighter. So you did the same thing on the other side. You tied the knot in the first one. So you only really tie the knot in the first one, or you do it in all of them?
I do it in all of them.
It just helps it stay more steady, basically, right?
Yeah.
So this says 300. I usually cook mine at 350.
I suggest 300. That fits everybody. Not everybody has a precision cooking platform like an egg that's perfect on temp.
Sure.
So,
yep. It's got a little air gap, so we want to make sure, if it does go to 350, no problem. So, all right, I'm going to throw this out there. He gave me this actually great recipe card for the prime rib Gatling gun. Go ahead and do hashtag Demkota Ranch Beef down below, and I will send you one of these. You'll have to contact me and get me your mailing address, but if you put in the comments down below, hashtag Demkota Ranch Beef, I'm gonna send you one of these. Beautiful recipe card on how to make your prime rib Gatling gun. And there is a bone ladder.
There is a bone
That's
ladder.
a bone ladder if I've ever seen one.
That's a bone ladder if you ever had one.
That is sweet.
So, we could sear this.
Okay, right.
And then we could wrap it.
Most people out here don't have multiple cooking devices. So if we were gonna sear it first, we'd have to get this really hot, sear it, cool it down. It's a whole nightmare. You can do it if you want to. We're not gonna sear it today. We're just gonna go ahead and put the bones on it, and we're gonna throw it on the rotisserie. I think a lot of the direct heat from the rotisserie will really give it a pretty nice char on the outside of it anyway. Do you sear yours? I wanna know, do you sear your prime rib? Let us know. I'm always open to know. I generally don't. When I'm cooking it by itself, I will. I have another video where I did it in a pan. It's an old video, but it's still pretty good. I'll put a link to that right there.
Okay. So it's time to build another layer of flavor.
Okay.
This marrow right here.
Yep.
Beautiful. Absolutely delicious. It's nature's butter.
Great.
We're going to season this as well. I want seasoning on the marrow too.
I love it. I love it, love it. And you can cook bone marrow just like this too. Put some seasoning on it, just throw it on your grill. Would you cook it direct?
No. When this starts to render, it turns into liquid.
Right.
If that, you've gone way too far and it'll start a fire.
Gotcha.
You're baking it, not grilling it.
Right.
So
you want to go
smoking
You want to go indirect with that, really.
You want to go indirect all day. We got more flavor there.
Okay.
Set that. Good
Beautiful.
measurement on it.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull this over. I need more bones.
Might need another bone or two.
In your neighborhood, where do you get marrow bones at?
I have a local butcher shop here, Guido's Market down in Pompano Beach. I get them there. If you ask your butcher, they may not have them in the case, but a lot of times they'll have them, and if not, they will get them for you. So it's much more common than you might think.
So we added one more.
Okay.
Season it up.
I can do that.
There you go. We're gonna try.
Oh, look at that.
So we are.
This is why he's the pro.
We are perfect on our measurements.
It's just so cool looking every damn time.
It is. It is.
Now, so what you do is you bring it around the first bone.
Yep, I'm gonna go underneath it.
Okay.
And I want to put a little tension on that.
Yeah. So I know why you want to get it nice and tight. Now tell me if I'm correct. Because as it cooks, that meat is going to shrink a little bit.
It is
right?
100% going to shrink.
You want this to try and stay as tight as you can onto the meats.
There you go.
All right, so I got my fire starting to build here. So I'm going to just open my vents a bit here. Okay, about 25% of the way. We want to cook this about 300 degrees. So we're gonna close this down and let it come up to temperature. So however you would set up your egg for 300 degrees, what I do, I leave my bottom vent open about maybe 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit more, 1/2 inch, and I leave my top all the way open. The reason I do that is because I want airflow going through there. I want the air going through. I don't want smoke sitting on my meat. To me, if I leave that bottom vent all the way open and close this like this, now I have smoky air sitting on top of my meat. I don't want that. I want it rolling over my meat. I know it's different than a lot of people do it. Try it. You might be surprised. We don't like super smoky food. Smoke is an ingredient. So we're just gonna tie all the strings together at the end.
Yeah, just gonna tie them all together.
Okay.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
It never ends.
So
cool.
You can hang it.
Awesome.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, you can hang that in a barrel
now. Maybe we'll do one over a barrel or open flame one day.
All right, you want to really crank down on these here because they can tend to loosen up, especially when they're new. And all we're gonna do now is just stick this straight through the center of the meat. Center. You want to try and get it as centered as possible because you don't want it like misweighted on the rotisserie. All right, so we got it in that side. All we do now is stand it up. We're just gonna do the same exact thing on this side. Gonna get it right down in there. Okay, nice and tight. You want it nice and tight in there. And again, crank down on this screw. You want it really, really, really tight. Ta-da! Rotisserie. Now, beautiful. Can you see why it's called the Gatlin Gun Ribeye? Just like the barrels of a Gatling gun. All right, Paul. Well, we're at 300 degrees. All right, so I think that we're ready to put this thing on. What do you say?
Let's do it.
We got a nice fire going here, so we're just gonna slide this right in there. It sits beautifully like that, and all we have to do now, flip the switch. Look at that. Ooh-wee, is that pretty? Now, there's a big debate on whether to cook with the dome open or dome closed. Myself, okay, I like to cook this with the dome closed, especially with doing something like a prime rib. We want it as coast to coast pink as we can get it, all right? If we cook it with the dome open, it's gonna continue to cook the outside just that much more. Here, you're still getting the benefit of the oven effect in there, basically.
More
cooking
temperature
more evenly.
control,
right.
For sure.
Exactly, so you gotta watch it a little bit when you're using your rotisserie, because it does leave a little gap in the front, so it's gonna let air in. It's gonna be different vent settings than what your normal big green egg vent settings are. All right, now, Paul, I know what temperature I normally cook this to. Okay, what temperature do you recommend that we cook this to?
With high quality meat, we're doing prime rib style. Yeah. We're gonna cook this to 125 internal.
Okay, so, all right, cool, because I'll tell you this, I love mine cooked medium rare. I mean, I love it medium rare.
Medium rare is where that meat gets to shine.
Yeah.
You nail that temperature, the only thing that can make this any better.
Yes. Horseradish cream sauce?
There you go.
Let's do it.
Our sauce is simple. It starts with 1/2 cup sour cream, 2 tablespoons prepared horseradish, 2 tablespoons mayo, Hellmann's or Duke's, 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. That's the good stuff.
We're gonna add a little salt, some pepper, fresh cracked of course, and we're gonna top it with some chopped chives.
This sauce could not be any simpler. Just take all of those wonderful ingredients we just had and combine them all together in a bowl. Use fresh black pepper and make this a day ahead of time.
So we're just gonna stir this up to combine it all real well. And then I can't believe I'm gonna get to do this 3 times in one video, but while this prime rib is cooking away here at 300 degrees, I'm gonna go somewhere else and take this with me. Where should I go? I know. To the refrigerator! 3 times, baby! All right, we're almost an hour in, so let's take a look and see what we've got. Oh my goodness. Is that gorgeous or what? She's spinning, baby. Look at that. And it's just dripping away. All right, let's let it finish up. All right, kiddies, while Paul's messing around with his gloves here, we just checked this thing, and it is awesome. We are at temperature 125 right in the center, exactly where we want to be.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Woohoo! Clean, change your glove. All right, we're just going to take this right off of here. Look at that. Nice and simple. Look at that. Is that gorgeous or what?
Blasting you with flavor.
All right. So, what's our next step, Paul? Do we do what we normally do with steaks?
Yeah, let's cut right into this. No.
Let that juices just flow, right?
There you go. Lose all the hard work.
Guys, just because it's on the rotisserie, just because it's done a little bit differently, same thing. We're going to let this rest. We're going to let this rest for about 15, 20 minutes, actually. I like to go that long because it really lets everything, all the muscles and all the fibers inside, as it's cooking, been contracting and expanding and shrinking and go. Now they're all going to settle together. It's going to be a super tender and juicy piece of meat.
You know what we can do?
What can we do?
We can go ahead and cut the bones off.
We can cut the bones off.
What are we going to do with the marrow?
I know. What if we take that beautiful horseradish cream sauce and we scoop some of that marrow into there and mix that in nicely?
There's nothing else to it.
That's it. That's where you were going, right?
Yeah.
All right.
You should be in there at the fridge. I'll handle this.
Oh, I'll go number 4 to the refrigerator.
All right, just gonna cut the string off. We're not doing anything with it. We're just gonna let this thing rest. Wow, that is beautiful. Oh, smells delicious too. We're gonna lift that up, let it continue to rest. We're gonna take this bone marrow, we're gonna use it.
All right, so I'm putting on my favorite gloves, all right? You know, a lot of people ask me at the time what I like to use. I love these silly gloves. They're made by Hay Grill Hay. Listen, I don't work with them, but they're heat-resistant gloves and they're food safe too. So like I can pick up this entire steak and not have to worry about it. So now we're gonna take some of that marrow, spoon a little bit of this into here. Look at that beautiful gelatinous, beautiful. You seeing that? See what we have here? Okay, just gonna take that and just stir it in. Flavor, layers and layers of flavor. There we go, look at that, right in. This sauce, folks, you serve this, I guarantee you your guests are gonna say thank you because it is the absolute best horseradish sauce in the planet, on the planet, around the planet.
That'll do.
He said,
that'll do, that'll do, that'll do.
all right, so Paul, while we're resting it though, we can actually take it off the spit and everything like that, right?
Absolutely, we just don't want to cut across the grains of the meat and allow all that juice to flow out, so.
I wish that you could smell this. I absolutely wish you could smell this. You know what the beautiful thing is? We didn't have to monitor it. This thing did its job beautifully. ThermoWorks RFX, man, I'm telling you, there's nothing better, nothing better.
How long and what temp and how long did we do it?
This was 2 hours. We wound up going right about 350 most of the time, okay? We kind of shut down the vents a lot. Because of the gap that the rotisserie creates, it just gives it enough air to keep it right at 350. So now we wait, and then we slice, and then we eat, and then yee-hoo, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says. All right, Paul, so this is actually rested for 15 minutes now, all right? I know I said 20, but we went 15 because we're hungry, and it smells too good. So what's our next step here?
Get it cut.
My favorite part. Do you have a knife?
Yeah, I guess I could use this as the
Paul,
only knife
Paul.
out here.
Remember this? That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Yeah, you had to one-up me.
Always.
That is beautiful.
So,
that is beautiful.
Yep. Yeah, Spaceman. So.
Spaceman.
All right. So I'm gonna cut this about a half-inch thick. We're gonna get about maybe 6 steaks out of this, something like that. I'll go an inch thick on yours. Look at that. Oh, glides right through.
You want.
Beautiful. A little bit. I think it carried over a little bit more than we would have liked. Oh, that's beautiful.
There we go.
Yeah. Now look at that.
Have faith in yourself.
I know. Now look at that. That's pretty gorgeous prime rib right there. Nice pink, juicy. Look at that. The juices are running out of it still. That is absolutely beautiful. I think my friend Mel might say that's deadly. And you know what's beautiful here is that this is a perfect size, okay? It's perfect. I love this. Excuse me, sir, your meat is dripping. Sometimes what I like to do too is I like to take this, something like that. I'll hit this with a little blackening seasoning and throw it into a hot pan for a minute and just like blacken the sides of it so you have a blackened prime rib. That's absolutely outstanding too.
If you had that one member of the family or the party that wanted theirs well done, what would you do?
I'd give them the end piece. I'd always give them the end piece.
Oh, you're much nicer. I would ask them kindly, but firmly to leave.
To leave. I missed that cue. He cued me up like that. I should have hit that one.
Softball.
So I want to taste this thing too. So the sauce is the boss. All right, just a little dip. I don't want to overdo it. Just a little dip. Cheers, brother.
Cheers, buddy.
God. Oh my God.
That's hitting home run. That's good.
That's out of the park. Oh hell yeah.
Wow.
That is just crazy good. All right, Paul. This looks absolutely beautiful. So I think we're going to add some of this horseradish cream sauce right across the top. Ready? Here we go. Oh, God, yeah. That's not going to be any good at all. That bone marrow in there is just sick, man.
All the little extra touches, all the building flavors, different layers.
That's right. And the chives actually adds a little bit of pop to it. Not only does it make it look pretty, but it actually adds really nice flavor to it. So you put this in the middle of your holiday or Christmas table, everybody is going to lose their minds. And if you notice too, as it's sat more, it's turned pinker and pinker and pinker. So when the first air hits it, it's not quite as pink, but as we let it sit, it turned pinker and pinker and pinker. Now it looks like what you think of as a prime rib. So I would probably pull it at 120 next time, though.
Yeah, we'll back it off.
You know, we want to leave this because I want to show you, okay? Sometimes, you know, we get things a little bit off too, all right? It gets a little bit overdone. This is a little bit more than we would have liked, but just barely, and it's still tender as can be. So I think I'm quite happy.
This is going to be a good Christmas.
This is going to be a good Christmas, Paul. I'll tell you what. Hey, listen, while I got you here, okay, don't forget, go down below, subscribe, and hit that bell. This way you get some notifications when we're releasing new videos.
Yep.
We got a lot of cool stuff coming up. Paul's going to be doing some more with me, all right? Paul supplies with a lot of his beefs, and don't forget, what's the website again?
Shop.dakotaranchbeef.com.
Okay, there you go. You've got it. You can order your beef right there, and it's pretty much all I cook. I love this stuff. So Paul's not here on accident. I work with them a lot, okay? It's a great dish. Paul, I can't say thank you enough. Really, it's an absolute pleasure. I'll shake your hand with the gloved hand. I don't care, man. But this is a beautiful dish. Enjoy your holiday, everybody, all right? I hope to see you in the new year. Please come out, like I said, subscribe, hit that like button, and don't forget, if you want me to send you the recipe card on how to make this, just leave me a note below and say hashtag Dakota Ranch Beef. You'll have to hit me on Facebook or Instagram to get me your address because you can't send a message like that on YouTube, and I don't want you putting your address out there for everybody to see. So hit me up with hashtag Dakota Ranch Beef. I'll be happy to send one of these out to you, okay? Until then, thank you for tuning in to Captain Ron Cooks. I will see you next time. Captain Ron, out.